Welcome back. We got another main event at the Apex this weekend before the UFC White House. This is the last event before that. And we got our superstar Belal Muhammed main eventing. This is a main event against Gabriel Bonfim, the up and comer at welterweight. But yeah, Belal Muhammed, he's gonna prove that this is the actual good main event compared to the White House. He's gonna show us what real MMA skill is. And so, yeah, it's gonna be super exciting. Everybody's gonna be watching this. Yeah, we're all gonna be excited for this one. But anyways, it's not a bad card actually. For having Belal Muhammad as the main event, this is actually a pretty good card. And listen, the card has changed a lot since like last week when I started doing my notes. It is annoying, saying like half of the roster basically like pulled out, and we got a bunch of new matchups. But hopefully when I upload this video, no more changes happens because it is annoying. I upload on Monday. We got a lot of fighters pulling out during the week of the fight night. Like really, like that happened like a couple times already with these last couple cards. But anyways, it's not a bad one. I'll give it like a 7 out of 10 around there. You kind of be a little bit like a bit of a hardcore to like appreciate some of these matchups, but it's not like a bad card at all in my opinion. But anyways, let's start with the first fight of the night. We got women's strawweight. We got Souza versus our back acne queen, Carnelossi. Two boxers, boxing matchup basically. And I do think Souza has a better boxing. She has a longer reach. I'm going with Souza winning by decision. Next up, we got women's flyweight. We got Chaves versus Yannis Duben. Chaves, she's coming off a great contender series win. It was a really good fight between her and like some Argentinian fighter, but she's the winner. She's coming off that contender series win, making her debut. And also, if you watch like the UFC Espanol YouTube channel, that like her fight is on there, and it has like 700k views. It is a pretty good fight. I do recommend it if you want to watch it. But anyways, she's not bad. She has some decent striking. She hits hard. She hits basically like a man, and she's able to generate a lot of power. Her grappling is still a question, but she's facing off with another striker, so maybe the grappling question will remain a question for this fight. And Justin Duben, Junesi Duben, her striking is, I would say, it's not as good as Chaves, and also she doesn't hit that hard. So realistically, this should be a domination for Chaves, having the better striking, having the better power, and winning by decision. So yeah, I'm going with Chaves decision. Maybe Duben has like really good grappling, and she just I'll ragdoll Chaves, but I don't think so. So yeah, give me Chaves decision. Next up, we got after the weight. We got fully developed Sean Woodson, aka Jordan Leavitt, versus Joe Anderson Brito. I'm gonna go simple with this one. Brito definitely is gonna defend the takedowns, and when he does, he's gonna do whatever he wants in the striking. And I'm gonna go with Brito second round KO win against Leavitt. Next up, we got at women's bantamweight. We got Priscilla Cachoeira versus Chelsea Chandler. Priscilla Cachoeira, she has KO power. Her grappling isn't really there. Her striking isn't really there. She really just has KO power, and she has a couple KO wins, which shows just how good WMMA is. Someone who is not good at all. She has like 1920s boxing. Yeah, she's able to get a couple KO wins here and there because she just has KO power. So yeah. But anyways, she's facing out with Chelsea Chandler, someone who is like a tall, rangy, southpaw kickboxer, kind of like a Conor McGregor for her division. Not really, but she is pretty good, and she has the grappling as well. And I do think she's gonna like win in the striking and definitely win the grappling. So I'm going with Chelsea Chandler winning this by decision. She should have a decent chance winning this fight. Keep the fight at long range as well on the feet. Avoid the KO shots of Cachoeira. Some of these girls just straight up have no understanding of range. Just saying. So maybe not, but maybe she does get chinned. But I think Chelsea Chandler is like smart enough to keep it at range and win a decision. So yeah, give me Chelsea Chandler decision win. Next up at flyweight, we got Bruno Silva versus Edgar Chairez. This could be the first banger of the card for sure. We got Bruno Silva versus Edgar Chairez. Two guys are, one's good and one's underrated. Bruno Silva, has some good Muay Thai. His boxing is not really there. In terms of not just his offense, but also his defense. He does get hit a lot. He gets not just in like you can say the Joshua Van fight or like the Manel Kate fight, but also he was getting hit a lot in the Cody Durden fight and like I forget the other fight, but he gets hit a lot. And when he gets hit, like he doesn't really adjust or anything. He kind of just like keeps walking forward, hoping just to like win the moments, which is not smart, especially because he is kind of small for flyweight. He's 5'4". But yeah, he needs to start adjusting in his fights. But either way, he is well rounded in terms of his striking, his grappling, and also finishing ability. He has kill power. He has heavy hands, and he has a submission threat. So he is pretty good in terms of many areas in terms of being a fighter, a complete fighter. But yeah, he can definitely come in this fight and be a problem for Edgar Chairez, someone who is underrated, a pretty tall, rangy, decent striker at flyweight. He has a really good jab, meaning he has a pretty good chance just using the jab to win the exchanges against Bruno Silva for sure. And probably going to see that a lot in this fight if Bruno Silva doesn't adjust in terms of implementing the grappling. Because if once Bruno Silva starts implementing the grappling, I do highly favor Silva winning this fight. But not just also, but I just think Bruno Silva is much better in general. Bruno Silva is coming off like a split decision loss against Charles Johnson, someone who is like similar stats in terms of physique and I would say even better striker than Edgar Chairez. And Bruno Silva barely lost that fight. He arguably won that fight against Charles Johnson, and he's fighting a not so good Charles Johnson, I guess you can say. And Edgar Chairez, he's not bad. He has some good moments against Joshua Van, knocked down Joshua Van a couple times here and there. But I would say Joshua Van has improved a lot since the Edgar Chairez fight, going into the Bruno Silva and then going into like his last fight. I do think the version Edgar Chairez fought for Van was not that good. But anyway, Edgar Chairez, he's decent, but he's coming off a not so great fight in his last fight against a not so good fighter. I forget his name, and it was a split decision win for him, which you can arguably say he lost that fight. So for Silva to come into this fight, for a coming off a loss, he arguably won, and Chairez to come off a win, he arguably lost, and Silva, he fought a much better opponent. I do think Bruno Silva is much, probably gonna win this fight by decision. I don't know if he finishes Chairez. Maybe he gets like a third round submission win. But I'm gonna go with Bruno Silva winning by decision, realistically. Bantamweight, we got Marcus McGhee, the return of Marcus McGhee versus John Yannis. We got the guy that's compared a lot to Archer from Small Soldiers. I used to watch the movie a lot as a kid, by the way, on VHS. I don't know why my family allowed me to watch it. But anyways, it was a weird movie looking back at it. But anyways, Marcus McGhee, obviously this dude, in his fighter introductions, he's got to throw up the Illuminati symbol for some reason. And it is because, he is part of, like, you could say the MMA lab gym where, also Benson Henderson is part of it, like one of the owners, and he throws it up a lot. And I know it is like I'm going to say like a throwback to not just like the MMA lab logo, but it's like a throwback to like the karate stance that, that's like a throwback to that. But like if you like look into like the meaning behind the karate stance, it is kind of like a, how would I put it? It is like have like very similar roots to like the Illuminati, in terms of like the symbolism, But either way, you look at the MMA lab by itself, like they could have chosen like any other letter, like the L or B or anything like that. But they specifically went with the A, and the A looks a lot like a pyramid. Like it doesn't look like a hand sign; it looks like a pyramid. And the pyramid, of course, is used a lot in like the Illuminati symbolism for like the all-seeing eye. So yeah, it's kind of weird stuff. There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes in MMA to begin with. A lot of weird stuff, and there's also other gyms that have like other like symbols of like cults and stuff. But either way, back to this fight, we got Marcus McGhee versus John Jones. Marcus McGhee, pretty good boxer, heavy hands for sure, and he is well rounded to keep the fight on the feet and implement his boxing. And he's not facing with John Jones. John Jones is coming in this fight on short notice. There's a couple guys here making their fight on short notice, but I think he's like one of the fighters, and he's 1-on-1 right now in the UFC. He lost his debut fight against who? But he won. He's coming off a win earlier this year and like against some like white Canadian with like an Indian last name. So it's to give and take. I mean, he was making a debut, so I don't know. It's not. I want to say it's a good win for Yannis, but he did win by first round KO. And he is now taking a short notice huge step up against McGhee, which ironically McGhee, his last fight was a huge short notice step up against Peter Yan. And it's because McGhee is pretty good. I just think he would have done like a pretty good job at bantamweight in the rankings if he didn't fight Peter Yan that early. But yeah, he obviously did lose that, and I do think realistically this should be a first round KO win in my opinion, or if not second round KO. Her, drop Yannis a couple times in the first round and then finish him in the second. So I'm going with McGhee second round KO win. Catchweight, we got Schnell versus Alexander Costa. Alexander Costa stepping in on short notice, another short notice fighter on this card. Schnell, Schnell kind of, in my opinion, is like a what is this, bantamweight, right? Or flyweight. Oh no, this is flyweight. Yeah, I think this is flyweight. Uh, he basically is just a flyweight Gerald Mearshart, where in this stage of his career, he kind of just all he really has is the upset, fluky submission threat. Aside from that, he is chinny. His striking isn't really there. His grappling, I'm trying to like his takedowns and like overall grappling isn't really there. But he has a submission threat, like a good triangle choke. But yeah, that's all he really has. And if he doesn't get that, then he gets dominated in his fights, especially his last couple fights. And he's facing out with someone who's not good, but he's decent, good enough to like he has like decent boxing, decent power, definitely can defend some of the takedowns. And listen, Schnell can definitely get the upset win over Costa, but I am gonna lean towards Costa winning this one by first round KO win. I do think he's gonna get the first round KO. And I look at want to go with Schnell by by an upset. Just saying, you know what? You know what? Give me a match decision. Actually, no. Give me a submission. I'm gonna go with the upset. I do think I have a feeling Mashnell's gonna get it done. He's much bigger, so he can definitely get like a triangle choke on Alessandro Costa, who's much smaller. So I'm gonna go Mashnell submission win. I was gonna go Costa, but I just changed it like mid. Speaking of this fight, so yeah, I'm gonna go Mashnell submission. First fight on the main card, we got light heavyweight. We got Baraniewski versus Junior Tafa. Junior Tafa, another short notice step-in fighter against Baraniewski. Baraniewski, realistically, he should get the first round KO win, continue his first round finish streak. He's undefeated by 100% finish rate. He hasn't gone to the second round in his pro career. And yeah, realistically, this should be an easy first round KO win. He had a good, like, decent debut fight against Ivo Aslan, which in that fight he did get dropped against a not so great fighter. And but he also got back up. He showed he had a decent chin and a decent mentality. Not to when he got dropped, not to like give up. He got dropped. Be able to get back up and get the finish himself. So good mentality for Ivo Baraniewski that he showed in that fight. And I'm saying that because he couldn't get dropped by Junior Tafa. Another not so great striker like Ivo Aslan. So there's that potential. Junior Tafa is much taller, rangier than Ivo Baraniewski. And listen, Ivo Baraniewski is coming off a heavyweight win over Austin Lane. It was a light heavyweight, but Austin Lane is a former heavyweight, and it was an easy KO win for Ivo Baraniewski. And Junior Tafa is another former heavyweight. He has a couple fights already at light heavyweight, but his last only win at light heavyweight was against like some like really bad light heavyweight, someone who, in my opinion, kind of like fraud his way past the contender series. And yeah, it's clearly showing he's not UFC level. The guy he beat, Junior Tafa. But anyway, Junior Tafa, realistically, he should get chinned in the first round. He is still just a heavyweight. He is slow, not high level in terms of his skill. So I'm going with Baraniewski first round KO win, in my opinion. Next up at bantamweight, we got Bryce Mitchell versus Santiago Luna. This is a good matchup, but in my opinion, it's a little bit too soon for Santiago Luna. Bryce Mitchell is good. He has a really good grappling, really good cardio. He's experienced. He's only lost to like really high level fighters, and you can kind of say the Josh Emmett fight was kind of like a stylistic nightmare. I mean, to be honest, a lot of the guys he fought like that he lost to were stylistic nightmares, just because he is pretty small at bantamweight. Ilya, Emmett, John Silva, they were much bigger but much stronger. Bantamweight this is the actual weight class for Bryce Mitchell. And you saw it in the Said Nurmagomedov fight where he was doing whatever he wanted. And listen, he did kind of like a hairy start in that fight against Said. He did like I think he kind of got dropped or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but he did he did really good in the grappling in the second and into the third round and definitely won that fight. Santiago Luna is not as good as Said, like as of right now, he's undefeated. He's like what 2 fight wins right now in the UFC. He got dropped in his debut fight against some like Chinese fighter, but he was able to get back up and get the finish, kind of like Baraniewski. But in the second fight was a not so great performance. He felt like this one trash can, and he went to decision with him, and it wasn't a great performance at all. I do think Bryce Mitchell is gonna come out there, take down Santiago Luna. Maybe it could be kind of like a little hairy in the beginning, like like as in like Said fight where Luna can make it a tough fight in the first round. But I think Bryce Mitchell with his cardio advantage and grappling advantage, he definitely can start really taking down Luna in the second and into the third round, and maybe get like a third round submission win. But Bryce Mitchell, realistically, in my opinion, should win this fight with the grappling. And I don't think Santiago Luna has the really good striking to drop Mitchell. He's, in my opinion, still kind of experienced in the striking. His striking is kind of like still wonky in certain areas, but and I don't think he has the power to KO Mitchell. So I'm going with Mitchell, just straight up ragdolling Luna into probably like a third round submission. So yeah, I'm going with Bryce Mitchell, clearly winning in my opinion. A little bit too much of a step up for Santiago Luna. Yeah, Bryce Mitchell, this third round submission. Next up, we got at lightweights. We got Ziam versus Tom Nolan. A really good banger. Two guys on the come up. Two prospects, and now they're faced off with each other at lightweight. Two tall lightweights as well. So Ziam, he's what 6'1", 75-inch reach, very tall, rangy. And Ziam really understands his range and his you can say his physical stats in the octagon, because he understands just to keep the fight at long distance. Jab, move, calf kick, move. No, boxing at pocket like Zhang Yang versus Alonzo Menifield. I don't know what Zhang Yang was doing in that fight. He fought in the pocket. He should have kept the fight at long range. But anyways, for Ziam, he understands keeping the fight at long range, not getting into brawls, trying to make the fight as clean as possible for him. And he does get into hairy moments here and there, but for the most part, he does a pretty good job. He's moving around and trying to keep the fight at long distance. Very responsible in his defense as well. He's able to also land a step back left hook counter, and on two guys are coming in kind of carelessly, and so and the striking, he's pretty decent. His grappling, it didn't start off kind of hairy for him, or kind of not that good. He got taken down a couple times here and there, and he did do pretty bad on his back. And it could be said because he is pretty tall. He has really long legs, so it's kind of hard for him to shrimp up, bridge, and butterfly guard escape his way back onto his feet. But he kind of has been improving here and there in his last couple fights. So he's coming much better. He's coming in much better against Tom Nolan. I just do think higher up in the rankings, if you give him a really high level grappler, Ziam really is gonna struggle in those fights. It gets against a Charles Oliveira or a Gamra or something like that. So or a what's his name, Armin Sarukian. So there's a couple, in my opinion, stylistic nightmares for Ziam. But anyways, he's not facing. He's defending his ranked spot against Tom Nolan, someone who is on the come up as well. Tom Nolan, though, in my opinion, I don't know. It's just I don't trust him winning this fight because he kind of just throws hooks. Doesn't keep the fight at long distance. He kind of just goes out there trying to find the KO win. He has heavy hands. He can get the KO. It's just against Ziam, someone who matches him in frame and reach. I do think Ziam is gonna be able to jab his way out of exchanges and move his way out. Calf kick, jab, calf kick, jab. And in the grappling, I don't think Tom Nolan is good enough to hold down Ziam, or not even take him down. If not, Ziam probably has the grappling to initiate the grappling and take down Nolan himself. So, in my opinion, this should be kind of an easy fight for Ziam. I find Ziam very boring. He's very boring, and I do not like him at all. I would rather want Tom Nolan to win this fight, in my opinion. It's just I don't know. Ziam realistically should win this fight, being the more technical fighter, more experienced, more skilled. And yeah, I'm going with Ziam. Decision win. I don't think he's gonna chin or submit Nolan. Maybe he gets a submission, but I'm going with Ziam. Decision win. Now for the co-main, we got at middleweights, we got Brendan Allen versus Edmund Shahbazyan. Brendan Allen, former American, now Canadian, or he is now repping Canada now, which is whatever. But anyways, Brendan Allen. Both of these guys on the come up, or like supposed to be the next big thing at middleweight, but they had a couple walls here and there. Sean Strickland for Brendan Allen. He lost to Fluffy, and then what's his name? What's that French dude's name? Or French Muslim, or you know what I'm talking about? I forgot his name. I generally forgot his name. But anyways, he lost to that guy. But aside from that, Brendan Allen has some good performances. I think he also lost to Chris Curtis, like very early. But aside from that, he has the good grappling, good submission threat. He's tall, rangy for the division, so he can have some good moments in the striking. But he is facing out with Emin Shahbazyan, someone who is a really good striker. In terms of he's like physically gifted, in my opinion. He's not like a high level striker, but he has like very, very fast twitch muscles, and he has like very high level KO power. So like you rarely see that. You either have fast twitch muscles or you have KO power. You rarely don't have both at the same time. And Aaron Shahbazyan has that. He's very quick and he has heavy hands. So it's interesting to see Aaron Shahbazyan, have that. But like his striking isn't really there. But you've seen his weakness be the grappling, where he gets taken down pretty easily and gets held down, and he's not able to do anything, and sometimes gets finished on the ground. And he's got like taken down by like not so great grapplers. Not as I want to say not as good as probably slightly better than Brendan Allen, but like around Brendan Allen's skill level. Image Shabazian, he's coming off of like a decent winning streak against, you could say, 3 grapplers in a row. He lost. He beat. I forgot who he beat. Let's see who he beat, because he beat 3 grapplers. So it's a good thing. Okay, Burka, even though Burka doesn't really grapple in his fights, Petrovsky and Muniz. Those are 3 grapplers. So 3, you could say he's improved his grappling. From what you've seen, he did a couple takedowns, a couple clinches in those fights. Brendan Allen is like probably much better than those guys in terms of the grappling frame as well. He's much taller than those guys. So I don't know, in my opinion. I don't know if Shahbazyan has improved enough to defend Brendan Allen's grappling. And also on the feet, Brendan Allen, I would say, is like more disciplined in terms of the fundamentals, in terms of the jab, the calf kicks. While Shahbazyan kind of just throws like I want to say hooks, but he kind of just throws wildly. Like he doesn't really like stick to the jab, like double jab, right hook, or like double jab, body and stuff like that. Like he kind of just wants to like get the KO win. And Brendan Allen, he throws a jab, keeping it at range. So in my opinion, I kind of do think also Allen probably kind of win the striking exchanges on the feet as well. So Allen, once he starts mixing it in my opinion, he low-key should be winning this fight and probably get like a 3rd round submission win. Submit Imran Shahbazyan in like in the 3rd round, or not 2nd round, around there. Maybe get the 1st round submission win, but I don't know. I'm not too confident in that. But realistically, in my opinion, I do think Brendan Allen's probably gonna win this fight by like a 3rd round submission. Be a little bit too much, a little bit too experienced, too skilled. He hasn't only like lost to like really good guys, so And so I'm with Brendan Allen winning by 3rd round submission, in my opinion. Now for the main event, we got Belal Muhammed versus Gabriel Bonfim at welterweight. We got former champ Belal Muhammed, who's now on a 2-fight losing streak against an up-and-comer. And so it's going to be interesting to see this matchup play out, because Belal Muhammed is really, really well-rounded. And I would say like he's so well-rounded that he really understands to strike the grapplers and grapple the strikers. And, be able to, that's how he got like a pretty long winning streak in the UFC before he fought for the belt against Leon Edwards, and he out-grappled Leon Edwards, the striker. He outstruck the grappler Gilbert Burns, and that's how he fights, and it works for him. He has 0 knockdowns, he has no power, but he has high level skill. He's underrated in general, and he's not coming into this fight against a Gabriel Bonfim, someone who also is well rounded. I wouldn't say he's that good compared to Belal Muhammed in terms of skill, but he does have like the you could say the well-rounded finishing threat in terms of the KO, the submissions, and so I would do think Belal Muhammed is not gonna probably get KO'd or submitted, but there's a chance. There's that chance. So yeah, and Belal Muhammed, listen, what was it? He beat Leon Edwards, but he wasn't able to take down JDM. But I do think JDM has really solid takedown defense. Aside from the Islam fight, he did pretty like good in every single other fight in terms of takedowns. Um, and then Bilal, kind of you can kind of say Bilal wasn't really even trying to take down JDM in that fight. Like it was a 5 rounder, which he shot a couple takedowns, but for 5 rounds straight, it was a low amount of takedowns Belal Muhammed shot on JDM, and it kind of seemed like he did kind of want to like prove to the fans he is an exciting fighter because, like I said, he has no knockdowns, he is a pillow puncher, and so or a submission threat as well. He doesn't really submit his opponents, which is weird. I don't know why he doesn't want to submit his opponents, but anyway, he's still very skilled and he's coming off an Ian Gary loss. And the Ian Gary loss, listen, Ian Gary basically is like you can kind of say he is like a Belal Muhammad, but like, because he's like, you can say he's tall, rangy, and better kickboxing. So, and they both defended each other's takedown. So, Ian Gary for sure is a much better striker than Muhammad, and Muhammad wasn't able to out grapple the striker, I guess you can say. So, that's why he lost to Ian Gary. But, he's not coming off 2 fight losing streak. He's not facing out with Gabriel Bonfim. In my opinion, Gabriel Bonfim, he isn't really cut from the same cloth as like the new guys at welterweight, like Prates, Morales, Ian Gary, and so he's good. It's just I don't trust him for 5 rounds because we've seen him do really good against other guys, except for one guy, Nicholas Dalby. He dominated Nicholas Dalby. He outgrappled the striker, but going to the second round, he like gassed out. I don't know what happened, but like he gassed out, and then he got beat up against a cage and got finished. So that's his only loss, granted, and you can say he's improved since then. But I don't like I said, I don't trust Bonfim to finish Muhammad, and there's a 5 rounder, and Muhammad has insane cardio. I don't know if I can trust Bonfim to dominate for 5 rounds straight. I don't think so. I do think Muhammad, who is more skilled in my opinion than Bonfim in terms of the grappling and striking. Muhammad has some underrated boxing. Just because he has no power, it's kind of hard to tell how good his boxing is. But he has pretty good boxing. He's improved. His last couple fights, his boxing has looked pretty good. I don't know if I can trust Bonfim to win this fight for 5 rounds straight. He's shown to have poor cardio. Muhammad has really good cardio. He has 5 rounder experience and also as well. And he's not much better well-roundedness. I do think he's probably gonna, start out grappling Bonfim, take him down here, and hold him down for, you could say, the last 3 rounds. I'm gonna go with like a classic Muhammad decision win, beating Bonfim. And so yeah, that's my pick. I'm gonna go Bonfim, Muhammad decision win. So yeah, those are all my picks for this card, for this fight night. And yeah, if you came this far, thank you guys for liking, like, and subscribe. If you think differently, if you think there's some guy here that's gonna win that I say is gonna lose, let me know in the comment section below. And thank you guys for watching, like and subscribe, and goodbye.